Good morning and welcome to the HINature Center. My name is Taylor Fujimoto and I'm the Environmental Education Program Manager here on Oahu. Here at the Nature Center, we like to work with children doing environmental education. We work with preschoolers all the way up to middle school working on different curriculum. We also do birthdays and community programs with families, and during breaks, school breaks, we do nature adventure camps. As I said before, we do lots of different curriculum, and what we're going to do now is we're going to turn that curriculum into videos that you can watch from home or wherever you may be during this time. So thank you for joining us, and we hope you have a good time with us. Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to the HINature Center. Here at the HINature Center, we love to explore outdoors, but we also like to learn while we're doing that. Today, we are going to put together a video that you can watch while you may be stuck inside or a little bored. We are going to learn about different types of habitats. Healthy habitats are all around us, especially here in Hawaii, and they're very, very important. I want you to think of what a habitat is and why habitats are important for plants and animals. Now, a habitat is a home for plants and animals. And this home is where they find everything that they need to survive. There are 4 basic things that all living things need to survive, including myself, including you, including that plant, including those fish behind me. And I want you to think of what those 4 things are. Well, I'm thinking of one, and I ate something this morning that helped me fulfill that. One would be food. Where's my food at? Can I get some food? I got food. My nice orange to give me nutrients. Food is one of them, of our 4 basic necessities. Next up is, I'm super thirsty. Where's my water at? Woo! All right, perfect. Water. All living things need fresh water to survive, including me. Now we have food, water. Next one would be shelter. Where's my shelter at? Aha! Now, shelters come in different forms. This one is a part-time shelter. Woo! Just in case it were to rain. It protects me from those natural environments. You might have a shelter, like a home or an apartment, and a fish might have a different shelter as well. Last but not least, all living things need space to grow and to be alive. Humans need lots of space because we are bigger. But if you're a snail, you might need just a little bit of space. Let's see these examples outside of humans too. If we look over here, we have some plants. Plants, where do plants get their food? That's right, from the sun. Ta-da! Plants take energy from the sun and they make their own food in a process we call photosynthesis. Also, they can get food from the soil, or they can get food from water. You can help feed those plants by giving them water. Have you ever filled up a watering can and maybe watered some plants? That's great. Or have you ever maybe made soil cookies and fed them to the roots of plants? So this plant has water, has some sun for food. Also, if we think about different types of shelter too, what kind of shelter does a bird make for its babies? That's right, a nest. Over here we have a little bird in a little nest, just chirping, looking for its mama. Chirping, looking for its mama. Chirp, 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 chirp. This would be a nest that we would find in our forest. That would be a type of shelter that birds make. And last but not least, right, all these things need space, like we said before. For instance, these fish in this aquarium have space to swim around. This turtle, our pet turtle, Raphael, Right now, we moved him into our classroom to show you, but he has a special pond outside where he makes his space as well, too. Raphael, can you say hi to the camera? Raphael is tough talent. He doesn't always work so well with the camera. So those are the 4 things that we need to survive. All living things need to survive, and those are the 4 things that all living things find in a specific habitat. In these next couple days, we're going to look at different types of habitats. And Hawaii is so special because we have tons of habitats, right? We have volcanoes, and we have streams, and we have coral reefs, and we have beaches. And we are going to explore some of those with you in just a bit. Thank you, and I'll see you soon. In these 3 habitats that we're going to be exploring, there will be different types of plants and animals. So I want you to think what types of plants you might find in all 3 habitats. And I have examples right behind me. So if we were to go to the stream, you would think plants that like a lot of water. And our example here is a very important plant in Hawaiian culture. This is the kalo or taro. Kalo or taro loves lots of water. There are different types of species. And this one, their roots like a lot of water. So we might find them when we go explore the stream. Ooh. Now, in a meadow or a grassland, take a wild guess of what we might find. Yes, grass. Now, grass comes in all different shapes and sizes. This grass likes to grow tall. But do you think there's grass that grows short? Yeah, most definitely. In our meadow, there might be tall grass, there might be short grass, there might be medium grass too. And we'll talk about what types of animals like to hang out in the grass. Last but not least, in a forest, you'll probably find lots of trees. And our tree right now is our kukuina tree, our state tree of Hawaii. Now we might see trees of all different sizes as well. Maybe some short trees that are just in their sapling, or maybe in their seedling form, and then tall trees that might be adults, blooming flowers, and maybe even fruits, now that it's springtime. We were just talking about different types of plants that live in these habitats. But now I want to start thinking about what types of animals live in these habitats as well. So if we were to walk over to the stream, and you were to go fishing, what do you think you might catch in a freshwater stream? Mr. Davis this morning helped us out by catching some guppies and even a Tahitian prawn. So those are some examples that we might find in our Makiki stream. If we were to go over to our meadow, which we're going to do today, we might find lots of different types of insects. What types of insects, you might ask? What are things that have 6 legs? That like to live in the grass and like to hop? Yes, a grasshopper. That's right. And not only did Mr. Davis catch us some fish and Tahitian prawns, he went out and caught us some grasshoppers as well. You can look. Ooh, tons of grasshoppers. Grasshoppers, and then grasshoppers like to eat the grass, and they also like to find water on the grass blades. But then you start to think of what might eat a grasshopper that might live in the meadow as well. And we have an example of a praying mantis too. And they might eat grasshoppers. And if you think about it, if you think about a praying mantis eating a grasshopper and a grasshopper eating grass, then you start to think of a food chain that happens in a meadow. And if we work our way over to the forest, what kind of things or what kind of animals do you think might be living in the forest? Might be flying around and chirping. That's right, birds. And just so happens to be that we have our beautiful shama thrush. Our shama thrush is in its nice shelter of a nest. Chirp, 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 chirp. Oh, I'm doing quite well. And yourself? Chirp, 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 chirp. That's great to hear. And what do you think shama thrush or other birds like to eat in the forest? Maybe caterpillars? They might come down and eat caterpillars. That's right. Yeah, and the caterpillar could be living on different plants because they like to eat living, right, leaves. So those are some examples of animals that we might find in different habitats. Oh wait, I forgot about my friend, the chameleon. What habitat do you think the chameleon likes to live in? The forest? The meadow? The stream? Do you think it swims around in the stream? Not so much. But if you said the forest or the meadow, you were correct. Because it might find its food, just like caterpillars, or it might find its food, like grasshoppers or other insects, in both of these habitats. What kind of food do you feel like eating today? Oh, grasshoppers. Maybe we'll get to see him eat some grasshoppers later on today. I'm looking forward to it. Before we go explore outside, we want to make sure that we're extremely respectful to all living and non-living things. You want to make sure that you're respectful to yourselves by being safe, being respectful to the plants and the animals that we see around us. We can be gentle. We are exploring their homes, so you want to think, right? You want to leave the habitats better than how we found them. How can we help these plants and animals? We want to make sure that we have fun, but we're respectful. Can you do that? Of course you can. So next time you get time to explore outside, think of how we're going to have fun, but show respect at the same time. Let's go! Oh, hey, welcome back. I didn't even see you there. Guess what? We found a meadow habitat. We just took a little walk and found a nice big area with lots of grass. Now, meadows could come in all shapes and sizes. There could be a small meadow or a very large meadow. Your backyard could even be a meadow, or maybe even a field at your school could be a meadow as well. Luckily, we found a pretty nice meadow that hopefully has lots of insects for us to explore. Now, can you think or remind us what types of insects we might find in a meadow habitat? Mr. Davis is over there, and he's already looking for these insects. Now, if you said grasshoppers, where's my grasshopper? He must have hopped away. Then you're correct. Grasshoppers are insects we might find in our meadow. Also, our praying mantis, might live in the meadow. And then, oh, whoa, what's that? And our chameleon might be eating some of these insects. Now you might think, hey, I don't have a nice net like Mr. Taylor, but that's okay. We can use reusable things that you might have at your house. Some types of jars. Now, I know not everybody eats peanut butter, but I love peanut butter. And after I ate my peanut butter, I took my jar, I cleaned it out, I put some holes at the top of the lid so some air can flow through. And voila! Guess what I have? I have a jar for catching grasshoppers. So you can just take a look around your house and think, oh, what can I clean out? And what can I reuse to help nature and maybe explore with? So we have our handy dandy bug jar, and yes, I do have my net just in case, okay? So we're gonna take a look and see what Mr. Davis is catching. Come along.
Good morning, I'm Mr. Davis. I'm one of the teachers here. And here we have a jar full of grasshoppers. You kind of saw me catching them. They're difficult to catch because they blend in. They're kind of camouflaged. They're green, all right? So what I did was I just kind of randomly scooped and voila. I got some good-sized grasshoppers and katydids and a few crickets. So you don't really know what you're going to come up with until you put them in your jar.
Grasshoppers, like all insects, have three main body parts: a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. They also have 6 jointed legs, 2 pairs of wings, and 2 antennae. Their body is covered with a hard exoskeleton, and grasshoppers breathe through a series of holes called spiracles, which are located along the sides of the body. Most grasshoppers we'll find are green, brown, and olive green. Today, we found tons of green grasshoppers. Sun grasshoppers can be as big as 4 or 5 inches. And their hind legs, their long hind legs, are used for hopping around, and their short front legs are used to hold prey or to walk. That's the wonderful world of a grasshopper. After our first meadow habitat, we took a nice little walk and we found another meadow. A meadow could also be just your front lawn where there's lots of grass growing. In a meadow, there's lots of sunlight, and all of these plants and animals, they like a lot of sunlight. Where's my net so I can catch some more grasshoppers? Thanks, Mr. Davis. All right, let's catch some more insects. Welcome back. At the end of each episode, we'd like to make a craft that you can do from home. So we thought that we'd start off with a basic craft that we can actually use throughout our time exploring nature. So we thought, what would that be? And here at the Nature Center, we always like to use journals. But not any type of journal, nature notebooks, okay? Now, making a nature notebook, I think, can be pretty easy to do anywhere you are. If you're stuck at home, perfect. We might have these supplies. So Mr. Davis went rummaging all around our office to find some supplies that we can use to make our nature notebooks. If you look right behind, in my nice, perfect handwriting, I jotted down some things that we can use. Some of them are optional, but some you definitely need, like paper. If we don't have paper, you can't write anything down, right? Now, we have paper. And what's cool about this is that some of these materials can be recycled, right? These are old brochures that we use, but the dates have passed, and so now we're using them as notebooks. Paper. Next up, we have scissors. Be careful with your scissors, right? Be careful with all of your tools and materials. Ruler. Just in case, this could be optional to make sure that your lines are straight. Cardboard or manila folder. This will be your front or back or your cover to your notebook. Something hard and sturdy to protect those pages inside. So we have a cardboard, or we even have an old manila folder that we use for collecting paper. Also, we have a hole puncher. Hole punchers can be a single hole punch, or we have a triple hole puncher, but whatever works, right? String, to make sure those papers are binded. String comes in all different forms. This string, maybe there's this old recycled string that we found, right? I think this was holding newspaper or magazines. And we even have yarn that you can use. And a pencil, if you'd like to draw or outline any of your cuts before you make them, okay? Now that we have all of our materials, we are ready to get started. And at the end, your notebook might look something like this, right? And we can decorate it, and we can even do some leaf colorings inside when we're finished. This is with a manila folder cover, and this one is with a cardboard cover. So let's get started. First, we have our manila folder, and we're gonna put some paper inside. That look about right. What we're going to do is that we're going to fold it eventually. So I'm gonna take this, and cut. Bam. Fold it in half. Pretty simple. One fold. Kind of looks like a nice taco. Now you take your hole puncher, and depending on how many sheets you have, it might be kind of hard to hole punch. So you want to maybe put, what did we put in here? We put about 3 sheets, and then when you fold it over, it makes 6 sheets. And if you do on the back and the front, now you have 12 sheets that you can color, draw, write down thoughts. Hole puncher. We can do 2 holes, 3 holes, but just for time's sake, we're going to make 2 holes. Now with your muscles, you're going to punch the hole through. Can you see that little hole in there? That's perfect. Next one over here. I got it. All right, we have 2 holes. Now with your string, this might be hard because you're like, oh my God, my string is so big. How am I going to get it through that little tiny hole? So I took it and I'm twisting it to make it thinner. And this is where the pencil might come in handy. You have it here, and then with your pencil, you can just push it through the hole, and bam, pops out the other side. We're going to make a single knot with your finger to give some space so that the pages can open and close, right? And then another knot around, like that. You don't have to have nimble fingers. I don't know how to do many knots, but just a simple single knot is totally fine. That's one side, and then the other side, do the same thing, maybe twist to make it thin. You got your pencil, punch it through. There we go. And if you need help, right, you can ask your family members to help you make a nice little knot as well. And pull through, bam. And if we open it up, we already have a nature notebook, right? Now, some of these pages are recycled, so we'll only get to color and draw on the ones that are free. Or if you want to decorate the ones that are already have print on them, that's fine too. But since we're going to be using this notebook for all the adventures that we're going to have in the future, we want to make sure that we decorate it, right? Put a nice title and even your name. And when you're finished decorating, it might look something like this. Mr. Kai made a beautiful journal, and it's titled Mr. Kai's Journal here at the Hawaii Nature Center. Right? And now he's all ready to go exploring. And I think he even has some drawings. Right, this was old print like we had in our notebook, but he just drew a picture over it, so it's nice to look at now. So you can do whatever you like. Now that we have our journals made, you might think, okay, what are we going to use our journals for? Well, our journals are for reflection. So it's for our thoughts that we might have while we're exploring. Maybe there are some cool plants that you want to draw, or some animals that you'd like to draw as pictures, or maybe there are questions that we have about nature. When we're exploring out and we're exploring different habitats, like the meadow or the stream, you might have questions like, what other types of insects live in a meadow, or what do grasshoppers like to eat other than grass, right? And with all those thoughts, you can jot them right down in here. So next time you go exploring, make sure that you know where your journal is, so we can write down all your creative thoughts. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on our fun adventure today as we got to explore different types of habitats. Today we explored a meadow habitat, and I think next time we'll get to explore a stream habitat, something like what I'm sitting next to right now. We'll also get to explore the forest and maybe some caves in Makiki Valley. But until then, we hope you stay safe and stay healthy. We encourage you to think of those questions that you might have about nature and about the outdoors.
and you can always visit us at HawaiiNatureCenter.org. Until next time, be safe and have fun.